do it. I like.
Hello, guys. This is my interview with one of my boxing idols. Definitely one of my inspirations as I started my own YouTube channel, the legendary Bayloric founder, Ingram Jones. How are you, Ingram? How are you today, Ingram?
Hey, Yemi, it's great to have you. Great for you to be. Yeah, the roles are kind of reversed, but yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah,
How are you?
yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I remember all those days I was on your channel, definitely watching all the videos, TV comments,
Yeah,
and
yeah, 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 yeah. You're always in the comment section.
yeah, always giving my name, always giving me shout outs, always giving me the airtime. Yeah,
You you
I've
have
been a fan
no.
of yours for at least 10 years or more. Because you're the
Wow.
Yeah, because I remember you, what's his name, Apollo James Jackson and IFLT were like the three major YouTube boxing channels.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
how did you get your channel going? I know it was over 10 years ago. What made you start your own YouTube channel? What made you, go that way?
Well, before I had the channel I have now, I had my own personal channel, and I found I used to blog before, and I found that blogging was kind of it was a way of relieving stress. But then I thought, hold on, I started doing videos. I found that doing videos was even more relieving. I had so many things to talk about, and if you ever look back at those videos, I talked about different subjects and different talking points.
Yeah.
And then so a catalogue of things happened. I play or I coach in sport, coach in cricket, and I do some work in boxing as well. What's going on here?
Your background's changed. Is that green screen?
I'm not a green screen at all. I don't know what happened here. Very weird. I don't know what happened there. We may have to start again, brother. I don't know what happened here.
Well,
Let me. We may have to start again, brother. I know it's a bit of a pain. Uh, my screen's just gone. I don't know what happened here. Never been the greatest fan of Zoom anyway. Let me see if I can fix this. Um, what happened here? Does that work? No, that don't. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I've got no idea. There we go. Is that okay now?
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So you
My
were
apologies.
saying,
I
so
don't know
you
what
did
happened
it
then.
originally blogging as form of stress therapy.
Yeah, it was a therapy, and then I had my own channel, and I was doing some stuff in media. I had media cover me a lot because I became a national community champion in 2010, 2011. And before then, I was in I did some work in the Caribbean as well, and I
Okay.
found that the media wasn't really giving the account of, wasn't following the stuff that I would like them to follow, or they wasn't following stuff the way that you would think they would follow things, And I felt there was a lot of bias within media. So in the end,
Okay.
it was just a case of myself just they say if you think you could do a better job, do it yourself. And it took me on a very long journey of doing many different things, and yeah, that's how it happened basically.
Where did that name Bayloric come from? What does it mean, Bayloric, your child's name?
Bayloric. Okay, so again, it goes back to a cricket academy I had, and I didn't want to call it Ingram Jones's Cricket Academy. I thought I was a bit too self obsessed, and I wanted to find saying a name that would have meaning to me. And one evening, I was just doing some stuff on Google, and the name Baylor came up, and I said, "Oh, Baylor, okay." So, what does Baylor mean? It meant somebody that delivered, somebody that came up with the goods, somebody that always performed, didn't let people down. So I took the name Baylor, and then it's Bayloric. So it's Bayloric, Baylor. What was it? At the beginning, it was BIC, which is Bayloric, Baylor International Champions,
Okay.
and that was how the cricket started. So I was coaching
Okay.
cricket, became a national champion with that. Then my then wife, we went to the Caribbean, and then we made it Bayloric, which is Baylor International Champions worldwide, because I was coaching players from all around the world. So they were international, and they were champions because they were winning tournaments. So it all started as a cricket academy because I didn't feel I was being supported in the way that I think I should have been supported. As you can see now in 2022, there's a lot of stuff coming out about cricket, the dark side of cricket, and the discrimination that has happened within this is still happening within the sport today. So yeah, um, yeah. So that's how it came about.
Your boxing back is very interesting. You used to be an amateur boxer yourself back in the day. You know a few boxers
I
in
I
Hamilton.
I was I did a bit of amateur boxing, and then I was actually down at Chris Eubank. I was down in Brighton, so I was training with Ronnie, not Ronnie Davis, but a friend of Ronnie Davis. I was training with. Ronnie knew me pretty well. A guy called Paul, and then my dad, who's Trinidadian, knew a trainer who was Trinidadian, and he said he wanted to take me to turn pro, which made me move to Cardiff, which is where Barry Jones used to train. And he was former world champion, two-time world champion at featherweight and super featherweight, and that was when he was fighting De Freitas. And I was training with Barry to come back after the doctors had said that he had a cyst on his brain. He got a second opinion, came back to the fight again. Yeah, and I was at that time I was training as a pro with Barry Jones in the gym with Ronnie
Whereabouts
Rush,
London are you from
Steve
originally?
Robinson's old trainer.
Whereabouts are
Pardon?
you from Hackney? Whereabouts London are you from originally, Ingram? Whereabouts you from?
Hackney, London. Born in Hackney, London.
Okay, so you're an amateur boxer for a bit. How big's your record? How many fights did you
I had three bouts. I had three bouts. Ian Napa, the European, the then European, he just finished his amateur. I was starting my amateur career, and he was finishing his amateur career. I had three bouts as an amateur. I didn't get many fights in because the Ronnie Rush wanted me to be a pro, and he thought the style I had was more like a pro. So boxed three times. The first fight I fought, Gordon Banks watched it, the old English goalkeeper, knocked the guy down twice. Referee at the time was in Crawley, and the referee said to me, if you hit this guy again hard, you knock him down again, I'm going to disqualify you, which is exactly what he did. He disqualified me for knocking the guy down. That referee got disqualified, got suspended down in Sussex. We fought in Crawley. The second bout I had was Eastbourne, and the third, which I won, and the third bout I had was in the Open Championships, the Novice Open Championships, which was in somewhere in London. I boxed there. And then after that, I decided to go and fight. I got the opportunity to train with Steve Robinson's trainer.
Okay. Okay. So after the free fight, what made you just say, "Forget this, is not my thing"?
Oh, I've got to remember that I had a lot of fights back then doing like martial arts as BCKO, which was a British Contact Karate Organisation, and that was basically full contact and which was open contact, which you fought a lot of fights, a lot of trophies I won with that, and I used more of my hands more than my feet. So I felt that helped me a lot. So I'd done that for 5 or 6 years before I boxed. So that was pretty helpful for me as well. So I did want to mention that as well.
Oh, so how did you because you know a few people boxing, how did you get in? How did was it Ollie Howson, a friend of yours from childhood? How do you know Ollie Howson?
So Audley, I met Audley. I was at Tottenham College at the time, and Audley was in the amateurs, and we used to sit together at college. And I used to tease him and say, "This weekend I'm going to go and see Lennox." He went, "What? What? You going to see Lennox this weekend?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to go see Lennox this weekend." And always wind up Audley up like a treat about it, and he'd have to go off and go on because he was fighting in the amateur championships. Didn't know at the time he was work his way into getting to fight at the Olympics for the GB squad. I didn't know that stuff, you know, because Audley was more out than in when he was in the college. So yeah, then Audley asked me to come and take part in his boxing, to take some boxing lessons for him, and that was part of the course. We're doing a recreational sports 481 City and Guilds course, 1992, I believe, Tottenham College. Yeah, and we were doing the course together. So that's how I got to meet Audley Harrison.
And did
And
he
he told
know?
me, go ahead.
Did he know he would become Olympic gold medalist? Do you think it was that good? What was your early thoughts?
I didn't know Audley that well, right? It was my cousin or my godmother that actually managed Audley's career.
Really? Wow.
She managed Audley's career up to the fight just before he fought Danny Williams. So before he was going to fight Danny Williams, she no longer was his manager. Up to that fight, he was unbeaten.
Did he fall out? What made him separate?
I think It's not my place to say, but I think maybe other things going on in Audley's life, maybe his personal life, was interfering with his boxing career. And in the fight against Danny Williams, that was, well, the writing on the wall, to be honest. It's not for my place to say. I know exactly what it was, but not my place to really say. But yeah. So
And
she said, you know what, I'm not.
okay. So after you actually boxing, what was your next type of boxing? Did you become you know, was it? Did you used to work with Dennis Hobson?
No, I did. That was later on when I had BWTM on sports. I did some work. I did some work with Dennis, and it was almost, I guess, it was really for me. It was the opportunity to work with a promoter in the UK. I'd done more or less everything else I wanted to do. I got the lots of views. I did the interviews with the big fight, the fighters. I did crossover shows. Um, my interviews have been translated. I was even on teletext. So I did everything I wanted to do in boxing in terms of hitting the targets that a lot of people said I couldn't do. Right? Even had Tyson Fury on various shows calling. I had people like Keith Thurman, Terence Crawford. A lot of the fighters who now we know as household names were guys that I kind of interviewed because I could see their talent way before. And when people were knocking these guys, I'm thinking these guys are going to go on to do great things. Alexander Usyk, another one. So I just kind of, I'd done everything I really wanted to do in boxing. I've gone to the press conferences, I did the interviews, and I said, you know what? I'm not interested in the press conferences. If I can get them on the phone, if I can get them to do live shows, I'd do it. So I built my contacts up. I'd either go through Facebook, or I'd go through Twitter, or I'd go through LinkedIn, or I'd go through either promoters, or with trainers, or with coaches. So the whole Dennis Hobson thing was very much me just looking to learn to work with a promoter and just interview their fighters. So that's all it was for me. That's what it was.
Yeah,
or just gaining experience.
Hence my next question.
Go ahead.
I'm interested now your relationship with infamous YouTuber Poker's Corner. Because I've heard you've met him a few times. Poker's Corner.
Who's that?
Poker's Corner. Russell Hartley. Poker's Corner.
Porky's Corner. Yes, yeah. I've met him. In fact, Porky was on my channel. It was he wanted to. I introduced him to a lot of the people on my channel. So yeah, I would say I was the guy that kind of opened the door for Porky to go on and do his channel in the future. So yeah, I do know Russell. I've spoken to him a few times, but yeah, that's what it is.
Is it life and life in person? Because I've actually had an interview with him way back before one of my first videos was Porky. He gave me an interview. Is he quite in person? Is he quite like that in real life? Like, you know, eccentric character.
For me, I think he's a nice enough guy. Yeah, but I have my friends who are very close and very tight.
Yeah.
And I have acquaintances. Russell's more of an acquaintance than a friend. You understand? Okay. He's an acquaintance, somebody I know through sport. There's not a lot of people from the sport of boxing I would say are my friends. And those people that are my friends are very close and very tight. So I call them family. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I do make I have acquaintances and I have family in the sport of boxing. Two different things, you understand? And I'm very, very, very clear lines as to who I would call a friend or family and who I call an acquaintance. So I only know Russell as an acquaintance, nothing more than that. Okay. So I can't pass judgment as to what he's like, or it's not my place to say, to be honest.
And I was wondering, back in the day, boxing, because there was Apollo, James Jackson. You met Apollo as well, James Jackson?
Yes, I've done. Actually, Apollo was the guy that kind of inspired me in a strange way. He inspired me because when I first started out, I got it was what's the name of the big American company? They do Fight Hype. So my first stuff in boxing was I worked with Fight Hype on a voluntary basis. That's how I got the opportunity to do interview Derek Chisora, meet Don Charles, and be very close with them in the lead up to the Hay fight. So it allowed me to really get inside and understand how fighters' camp is, and I met Apollo along the way with that, and yeah, so he was an inspiration at the time because he was doing some things ahead of his time. He was interviewing guys, and he was a visionary, so he was ahead of his time. Interviewed a lot of great fighters, people like Joe Frazier and many other fighters he'd interviewed, and yeah, he was an inspiration. Yes.
And you've met, okay, I'm guessing you've met both Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren.
I've met Frank. I like Frank. I've always liked Frank. I like Frank. Uh, Frank has given me opportunities. So shout out to Frank. Shout out to Frank.
Okay,
Absolutely.
because I get the feeling you're more into Frank Warren than you are to Eddie Hearn. Oh,
Frank's my type of guy. You can't like everybody. You can't like everybody in the world. That would just be being fake. There's some people you're going to warm towards more, and some people you're not. Some people are going to like your character, some people not. Some people are going to like you asking the hard questions, some people are not. Some people have got their biasness, and some people not. Some people are born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Some people are not. Do you understand? And it just is the way it is. I've just kind of leaned towards more Frank. Frank's my type of guy. Do you understand? I've never done business with him to say anything untoward, but every time I've met Frank, I've always been treated with the utmost respect. He's always respected the work that I do, yeah, I like the way Frank does, how he handles the people who do media for him, or how he handled me, right? So shout out to Frank. Yeah, people do things differently in business. I just like the way Frank did his business. Not that Eddie did anything wrong. I just prefer Frank.
okay. And in terms of interviews you've had in the past, you've been to a lot of people. What's been some of your most wow? I couldn't believe I'm doing this. All those wow factor moments.
I think the interview with Peter Fury when Tyson was off the rails, and that interview went like viral. It was in the newspapers. It was in every newspaper in the UK. It went around the world. It went in all different media outlets around the world. So BWTM at that point, and it was unfortunate because Tyson Fury and the whole Fury family, to be honest, had given me so many wonderful interviews. Had given me so much access. It was just a shame that the interviews I was doing at the time, when I did interview with Tyson or with Peter about the revelations that things were going on not so great in Tyson's career, that blew up. It was a hard time. I don't. Yes, it was great that BWTM got that acknowledgement and was seen by many media around the world, and it was great. It gave me another platform to another.
I know this is very personal. I have my own theories. I have an idea. Do you know the real reason why Peter, John, and Tyson fell out? And Mick Hennessy? Do you know the whole debacle?
Even if I did know, it's not my business to mention. So I don't. I've been asked that question. The amount of times I've been asked that question, it's not my bit. I'm not one of them kind of guys to come on camera and to talk about people's business like that. It's not for me. I see many people come on camera and talk about other people's business, and it's not a nice thing. So I wouldn't do it. It's not my style. But if other people want to do it, that's their business. But I don't do it.
Okay. I just want to, in terms of your career would you say you're a boxing journalist? What would you describe yourself as a job title? Obviously, you're sports coach. If somebody asking what's your job, you do many things. You do YouTube, you do a bit of philosophy, you do cricket. What would you say your job is?
I would say now, head coach of Lagos. That's what I would say my job is now.
It's Lagos. Wow.
That is my job. That is my job now. So I don't want to say anything else. That is my job now. So I'm head coach of Lagos. So that's 12. As you know, being a Nigerian yourself, that's 12 million people to work with. So yeah.
But you've been around the world. You coach. Is it in Trinidad Tobago? You've been around
Trinidad, Grenada, Australia. That's where cricket's taken me. So and it's quite funny because you think with the context I have and the people that I've got around me, the James Ellerbishairs, Stacey McKinley, you know, Abel Sanchez. The trainers go, let's go on and on and on. If you think that I would have gone on and kicked on and gone and done my although I could do some boxing training, and I have taken boxing classes, you'd think I would have kicked on and been a trainer. But I've got business to finish in cricket first.
What's your dream in cricket to win a national cup, World Cup?
I think because I felt that I've been cut short because of without going into too many details, the discrimination and the issues that were in England, and I had to kind of build my career around the discrimination, and had to go on the road quite literally to build my career. I kind of feel I've come this far now. I can't turn back, you know. So I want to get this done, complete this, and then at some point I want to visit the boxing world.
Okay. For now, it's cricket and boxing eventually. So as a kid, was boxing and cricket you always your two main sports, or was it boxing number one, cricket number two?
Well, cricket came to me quite violently. My dad uh, loved cricket, and the way I learned about cricket, my dad took me to the park one day, and he basically said, "Here you go, son. I'm going to teach you how to play cricket." He had a cork ball. He bowled it on a piece of in concrete. The concrete hit a piece of stone, whacked me in my mouth. My mouth started bleeding. He turned around. He came and bowled the second ball at me, and I hit the ball for four, and that's how I got into cricket. So I got into sport violently, getting hit violently. So that's how I got into sport. So cricket was that, and then the martial arts was something that kind of added with that as well.
Yeah.
And then I got fed up of throwing kicks all the time, and then I wanted to do some boxing, so I went down to West Ham Boxing Gym, and that's how the journey started for me boxing.
Okay. And boxing journalism, how's it changed from obviously now with YouTube, social media? How's it changed from where you started now? How long has it been around? 2010, 11? When did it belong to you start again?
2009.
How's it changed from now? From now forward, it's been like 15 years now. How's it changed the whole YouTube boxing landscape?
Well, it's not. There's a lot of things have changed. I think people want to be first rather than be right, or get their facts right. They want to be first. Second, the YouTube universe has changed anyway. You could have a guy that doesn't have a clue about the sport, is ill-informed, and be talking and get thousands and thousands and thousands of views. And then you can have a guy that's got on top-class trailers, world-class trailers, and get less views. So YouTube has changed a lot. It has changed a lot. And people are more interested in sensationalism now. And there is more and more people coming into boxing and doing YouTube that don't necessarily want to ask the right questions.
Yeah, you got to be PC to get access to the interview.
That's the first thing. They don't ask the right questions. They don't have a respect for history. If you don't understand the history of a sport, or at least the great fighters of yesteryear, if you have no respect for them, then you have no sort of standard of what a great fighter is. I find today that a lot of channels are caught up in what the promoter says rather than what the promoter's actually doing.
Yeah. That's how I want to respect for you, the channel, because you never care. You don't care about getting views. You care about getting expressing your opinion, integrity.
I've gone beyond that. I've gone beyond that now. I'm not. When you start out, it's like, oh, I want views for this, I want views for that. But what more do you want? If you've been in every single newspaper, every sports news article you get it if your interviews translated in different languages. What more do you want? How many more interviews can you? How many more views can you chase? How many more things can a person say or do that can be more ludicrous or more sensational than Tyson Fury? You know, it's just, how much more can you do? You're forever chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing. So it's like, you know what? I'm going to interview people that are going to give us great information, great insight, and kind of are going to be consistent. Fighters today are not as consistent as yesteryear, you know. And I tell you another thing that ruins boxing is these PRs, these public relations. These fighters on their way up, they use the YouTube to build their credibility. Then you get these people in PR that stop them talking to smaller channels. And some of these PR people came through those same channels to do the jobs they've got today. So there's a lot of stuff in boxing I don't particularly like. You know, I don't like as well when people talk about the word, this person's robbed and that person's robbed and this person's robbed. I'm like, hold on a second. You're in a damn corrupt sport. The sport is damn well corrupt. You know that if an A-side fighter goes 12 rounds against a B-side fighter, you know if he goes to points, the A-side fighter 99% of the time is going to win. Even if they've actually boxed crap, they're going to win. Because especially if there's a super fight, the next fight. So there's a lot of things in boxing that people say, and I'm saying, well, why are you saying this? You know this. But like the Jack Catterall situation with Taylor, it wasn't robbed. It was just business as usual. A person, for me, and I mentioned this the other day, and people didn't understand it at first. A person's robbed when a sport is given fair dues. It gives justice, and then out of the blue, this shocking decision happens. Like, oh my gosh, wow. But it's just the norm is for people to get robbed blindly in front of your face. Week in, week out. And what do? We get the same judges, the same referees, and we allow it, and we allow it, and we allow it.
Boxing has always been a dirty sport since time become. It's always been full of prostitutes. That's what I say boxing is. It's a dirty sport.
It is a corrupt and dirty sport, but there is something, the excitement about boxing. Seeing two guys compete. You know, seeing the underdog come from behind and win a fight, upsets. You know, love it. The build-up. You know, it's sport. Boxing is an incredible sport. It really is. But the corruption is a real turn-off, and I see more people going towards MMA because of that. Sadly, you know, the best are fighting the best all the time, or they try to make the best of the best fight all the time. A side, B side, this promoter, that promoter, this promoter don't want to work with that promoter. Nah, you see her making it happen. I have to say it because it is what it is. But I still love the sport of boxing.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, when boxing is good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. It's just one of those love-hate relationships I have with boxing.
Yeah, it can be like that.
So when you were a kid, what were some of the fights you looked up to? Was it Tyson? Was it Ali? Was it Frazier? Was it Foreman? Was it Nas? What were some of the boxers you loved as a kid watching up?
Fights. Now, the guy I love to watch. Well, Sugar Ray Robinson was my idol. Still remains my idol. Not just for what he did in the ring, but what he did outside the ring for his community. He built a town or a village, or almost a town named after himself, and he helped his own people with his money, and he gave them opportunity by creating jobs for them in factories. Sugar Ray Robinson, he's number one for me. Other fighters I loved. I loved to see Oscar De La Hoya fight. Loved the way when Oscar De La Hoya put a combination together. Loved it. British fighter. I watch a lot of British fighters. And strangely, guys like Gary Mason, Curtin Lang, Crawford Ashley, Clinton Woods, going back in the day, you know, all them old school fights, Lloyd Hannigan, Duke McKenzie, Colin McMillan, you know, going back, Paul Hodgkinson.
Henry guys, Freddie Mills.
Yeah, you go. Freddie Mills might have been a bit before my time, but yeah, them guys. I know Sugar Ray was before my time, but he was a guy.
Randy Turpin. Was he? Yeah, Randy Turpin was British. Randy Turpin. He won the one he bought.
Yes.
To beat him.
And there's obviously one other guy, Henry Armstrong, that I had a very special relationship because his grandson I know very well. Did an interview with him a number of times. Henry Armstrong, what a fighter! What a fighter!
I didn't know it was was mixed. It was half black. Randy Turpin. I didn't know it was a mixed race. So recently.
So it's interesting what you do find out when they pull the old curtain back.
That was crazy. That was crazy. For me, it was Nas and Nas.
Of course, Nas. Of course, I met Nas. I did an interview Nas. It was at the Frotch Groves thing, and he said, "Oh, mate, I'm only going to give you 2 minutes, mate. I'm going to give you 2 minutes." I said, "No, Nas, you can't treat me like that. Can't do that to me." Before 2 minutes, I got one of them. I was absolutely comedy gold. Typical Nas interviews. It was absolutely amazing. Yeah, the guy, a living legend, Prince Nazim Hamed. I, I got nothing but praise for that man. Absolutely nothing but praise.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. They're probably my favorite fight of all time. Not the best fight of all time, but my favorite. I just love trash talkers. I know he
Yeah,
had
he was
everything.
great. He was a trash talker. He went out to America. He did the business. I mean, Naz,
I
man, it
just
was
if only if
exciting.
he fought Mayweather, I would pay top dollar to see them live. I'll go Bangkok to see them live. Mayweather and Nas at a press conference. That'd be, oh my god.
Wow, wow. Well, I'll give you a better one. Pacquiao versus Naz.
Oh yeah, that is no. As Adam Smith would say, that's a what? That's what do you call it? That's a mouth watering fight.
Mouth watering. Spine tingling.
Yes, mouth watering fight. Fight for the ages. So, in terms of boxing in general, has it changed from when you started till is now? Is it for the better? Is it for the worse? Is it bit of both? Because there are good things. There are bad things. The bad things is obviously we don't get the fights we want to see like consistently. A lot of these politics promoters, hate to promoter.
I think it's got worse. I think it's got worse. I'll tell you why I think it's got worse. Because you see the corruption, you see the corruption, and a damn thing's been done about it. Jack Catterall against Josh Taylor. That was an awful decision. And what's going to get done about it?
Not a goddamn thing, probably nothing. A slap in the wrist.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's got worse. It's got worse because now they'll rob you right in front of your face. And the quality of commentating is garbage. You go look at Sky, I hate to say Sky Sports, when you've got two guys, they're saying on a big night of boxing are novicing. Why the hell are they on a card? Why are you allowing those guys to be on a card? Two novices fighting on a big night of boxing.
Yeah, and
Why?
the way they treated Glenn McCoy was disgusting. Glenn McCoy, one of the best boxing opponents we've ever had in history. The way they just threw him out.
Glenn, I know. I met Glenn. I had the pleasure of meeting Glenn when I was in Sheffield, and I had an evening out with him. Um, we had a few drinks together, and we spoke at length. I mean, real length. We talked about some really deep subjects, and I got a lot of time for Glenn McCrory. He's one of the real ones. He's one of the real ones. It's not. Go on.
I also in football, you get Roy Keane, you get Jamie Carragher, who speak their mind all the time. But boxing, you speak your mind, or you kicked out, or you warned, or you lose your job. How come in football, other sports, you can be your mind, you can tell the shot how it is. But in boxing, you're allowed to speak the truth.
Well, you got to look at who is running the boxing. Who's head of boxing? Who's head of boxing?
Yeah.
So your answer's right there. I think that I don't know. I don't know. But
I wish we had a role like Roy Keane, like Roy Keane boxing, like this. He speaks his mind non-stop.
I've always said people like John Fury and Peter Fury. More for me, Peter Fury. They speak their mind, and that's why people like Paulie Malignaggi. That's why people love Naz when Naz came on and said, Chris should retire. That's why people love Naz, because he spoke his mind. But it just seems that you
in my opinion,
have to read the script.
As good a promoter Eddie Hearn's got a shit team at the zone. That the zone team is I don't what. May Jammer, I don't Darren Barker. Apart from Andy Lee, Chris Lloyd,
mate. Listen, you have to understand it's friends rates. Friends rates. That's what it is. Friends rates. It's what it is. You know? It'll be interesting to see what Eddie does now. Because remember, people were digging Frank out when he had Box Nation. And they were digging Frank out for it. Frank put a lot of good fights on for Box Nation. And people are so goddamn ungrateful what Frank brought to us when he had Box Nation. Yeah, some of the production wasn't great, but Frank did what he did with Box Nation. And then he moved from Box Nation and went to BT Sports. Let's see what Eddie does now. He hasn't got that Sky Sports deal. And I've got to say, shout out to Ben Shalom. I like that guy. I haven't done business with him, but I like the way he conducts himself.
He's quite humble as well. He's very humble.
He's a fresh breath of air. He really is. I look at him and I think, I could sit down and listen to that guy talk. I'm like, yes, it's, it's a breather from the other gigs who's all about himself. I thought boxing promotion was about promoting the fighters, not promoting yourself. But maybe I've got it wrong. I don't know.
Okay, in terms of boxing now,
Hmm.
I think we talked this briefly in some of your videos. Can Eddie win at the zone, or Eddie eventually go back to Sky? Is there a feature in the zone? In my opinion, the zone can't, unless the zone buys BT, UFC, or another major sport. You can't, because boxing is not big enough to make billions
Well,
alone. It's not big enough.
Bob Arum knocked it on there. He basically said that we call it dead zone. That's what the zone is, dead zone. Without something attached to dead zone, you know, you can't compete dead zone with Sky Sports. You can't compete dead zone with ESPN.
Yeah.
You
You
just
can't
can't.
compete with BT Sport. You can't.
No, you can't either. So, whatever. I remember when Eddie was talking about world domination.
Yeah,
Remember that? And I just laughed at people. I said, "That's not happening. That's not happening. There's no way Eddie's going to go to America and overtake a man like Bob Arum, and it was never and Lou DiBella, the other guy, Al Heyman. There was no way he was going to come over and overtake guys like Al Heyman. What? Come on. That's why you got to know your history. There's no way that Eddie was going to do that ever.
yeah.
You talk about a man in Al Heyman that's come from the world of Motown.
Yeah. Done Beyonce. I think he worked in Death Row, some Death Rows.
You know what I mean? You talk about a man who's worked in them circles and then came into boxing. Now you can't compare. Can't.
In terms of boxing styles, you also say Eddie's show and Frankie's substance. From my
Yes.
opinion, Eddie is good for certain boxers. If you're a boxer, you can talk, you self promote, or is very established, like a Joshua White or Johnny Fisher. You do well with Eddie. However, if you're quiet, if you're not established, then Eddie won't do anything to help you. Because I think Eddie could do so much more with Carl Johnson and Tasha Jonas, because they're not trash talkers, or not the biggest ticket sellers. Eddie just here's your title shot, win it or leave it. But I don't think Eddie tries. If you're not making the money, I don't think he would try with you.
Here's my disagreement with that point. You're making money. Kell Brook, Anthony Joshua, the big names that Eddie's had, he has single-handedly messed up their careers. Single-handedly messed up their careers. Kell Brook going and fight Golovkin. What was he doing that for? Kell Brook was his ticket seller. He was selling out the Sheffield Arena, or so he was telling us. Anthony Joshua, unbeaten, unified heavyweight champion of the world, should have fought Trevor Bryan. Instead, Eddie and the ego got in the way, and instead they went and fought Andy Ruiz, which was a complete and utter no-no, because Ruiz's style was bang wrong for Anthony Joshua. And I said it, and I said it, and I said it. No, you haven't got Anthony Joshua, digging Anthony Joshua out. Look where we are now.
I just think Fight One was more patient. He would take his time to build the fighters up, whereas Eddie would just rush you.
Yeah, but Eddie, it's not just that. The matchmaking. The diabolical matchmaking. If Eddie had taken his time, or his matchmakers had taken time, instead of trying to throw everyone under the bus, or put guys in fights that they were never going to win, if you pick the right moments and the right times for those guys, he'd have 4 or 5 potential pay-per-view stars now.
You think so?
Absolutely. Okay, you think about this. Let's say if he managed people's careers the way he managed Conor Benn's career.
Okay. Who do you think he could have been a star? Ted Cheeseman? Who do you think he could have been a star?
Okay, let's put it this way. You had Anthony Joshua. Let's go first with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua wouldn't have fought Andy Ruiz. There's no way to suck him with Andy Ruiz. In his debut in America against Andy Ruiz? Really? Don't take that fight. Don't take that fight. He could fought anybody. But Andy Ruiz, good chin, big left hook, fast hands, knows how to fight on the inside. No. And Joshua cannot fight backing up. You back Joshua up, he's got no defense. And that's what Ruiz put put pressure on him, backed him up, made Joshua fight. And I said in exchange, that's where Ruiz was going to clip him with the left hook. That's exactly what happened.
So you actually predicted that Ruiz would knock Joshua out. You actually predicted it.
Yeah, I did. I warned people. I even told people how it would happen, how the sequence would happen. Joshua would be on top. He'd be throwing a combination, and then the left hook would come in. And I warned people because I knew Andy Ruiz. I knew of Andy Ruiz. I'd done my research. Andy Ruiz was trained by Abel Sanchez. He left box. I gave people the warning the night before and the morning of the fight, or the morning of the night of the fight. Andy Ruiz stopped boxing because of all the fat shaming, or body shaming. I was fat, and they kept saying, "Oh, he's fat. He's this. He's that." So he went and worked on his dad's construction site. He came back to boxing. After a time of depression, he came back. I said, "You better watch Andy Ruiz. You better watch." And he's all asked, "Eddie, let me have to fight Eddie. Let me have to fight Eddie. Let me have to fight Eddie." And they fell. Hook, line, and sinker for Andy Ruiz.
Well, and the rest is history.
And the rest is history. The rest is history.
Do you think that damaged Joshua's reputation forever?
Absolutely. Because what he didn't do was go back to America and knock Andy Ruiz out or beat Andy Ruiz in America. Didn't do it. And then, after that, Usyk's come along and put the icing on the cake. And subsequently, the interviews, the things that have been said, the decisions being made, and where we are in 2022.
Well, so I guess Canelo is Eddie's backup plan if Joshua doesn't beat Usyk.
Yeah. You can see that. Canelo must be getting paid a hell of a lot of money. I hope he understands he's not getting seen as by as many people on DAZN as he would do on ESPN or anybody else in America. How many people are going to watch DAZN?
Hardcore only. It's hardcore platform, not for casuals. It's hardcores.
Absolutely.
And the hardcore market's not big enough. You can't make billions off boxing. You can't. It's not NFL. It's not NBA. It's not football. It's not a big enough sport to make that type of money. It's too niche. In terms of, we surprised by the Fury White selling out 85,000 tickets in 3 hours. I was shocked because I knew this fight would be big, but I never thought Fury could do AJ numbers until now. And I think
AJ numbers. Let's talk about AJ numbers. AJ numbers in the UK.
Yes.
AJ numbers in America.
In the UK.
Okay. What's AJ's numbers like in America?
No, I have no idea.
Who knows AJ in America?
Hardcores.
Who knows Fury?
Hardcore, but also some casuals.
Fury can cross over. Fury's done WWE, you forget that. Fury's been at ESPN, you forget that. He's been at ESPN, you forget that.
He's also been on Mike Tyson's podcast as well.
You forget that too. You can't compare Fury to Joshua. You just can't. Different playing fields.
Yeah.
One who's collected all the belts in boxing. Huh? One who's been in big super fights with Deontay Wilder. 3 fights against the biggest punch in heavyweight boxing. A fight that Joshua ducked out of or didn't want any business with. And that was because of him. It was because of Barry Hearn, who said they didn't want to fight Wilder until 2021 or 2022. Said it.
Yeah, definitely. That's the fight that Joshua. If Joshua doesn't fight Wilder, that's a fight that will harm his career.
So there you go. So he never fought Wilder. He didn't fight Wilder. He fought Klitschko. What other super fight has he been in? And the Klitschko fight, Fury already beaten him. So he's got a great resume. That's what everyone says about Joshua. I'm not knocking the guys he's fought, but Tyson Fury's fought Klitschko, dethroned him, and Klitschko's career in terms of eras, he was dominant. And then he beat Deontay Wilder. I think both guys have at least 9 or 10 defenses of their titles. So I mean, there were two champions. I mean,
What do you think
while
of
there was
AJ's new trainer,
oh,
Angel Fernandez? And is it Angel Fernandez? What is it? Angel
Angel
Fernandez?
Fernandez,
Is that good? Is that
not a lot, not a lot,
but
not a
why
lot.
him? Why not Stacey McKinley or Ronnie Shields or James Alibi
If
Shield?
you don't understand the history of the sport, if you don't know the history of the sport, and you have no respect for the history and those guys, then you are where you are. You are where you are,
I
and
can't.
you'll
I don't know
get
what Angel Fernandez does for AJ any
and
better than Robert Klein.
you'll get what you've invested in. But I notice AJ's whole demeanour seems very happy at the moment. Seems very happy and jovial and carefree. I don't know if that's because uh, Usyk's preoccupied with more important issues in Ukraine, or he's heard through the grapevine that he may not have to fight Usyk in a rematch, because he seems very carefree at the moment. What I'd like to see is him fight Joe Joyce for the vacated belt. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, the heavyweight division is tough now. It's more competitive now than it is back then. I definitely agree. Part of me, I'm AJ fan, I'm a 19 myself. Part of me thinks if AJ was champion now, he wouldn't be champion as long as he did 5 years ago. Because the heavyweight champion is more competitive now than it was when he became champion. You got Hergovich, you got Yoka, you've got Jed Anderson coming up. You've got Yoka, Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce. Don't
You've
forget
got
Sanchez.
yes. So is it, no,
Frank Sanchez.
you got
Don't forget, that's my
Cuban.
boy, Frank Sanchez.
You got Frank Chantel. You got some. He's more competitive starting that heavyweight division. So I'm not too sure if if he
AJ.
retires, even if he retires, I'm not too sure AJ can become champion long. Maybe a champion again, but I'm not too sure long as we did before.
The competitiveness is one thing, and then you know, no wonder just where AJ I think could have been a dominant champion had he had the right tutelage. That's what I think.
Yeah, definitely.
If he had his career, if he'd run his career like a Klitschko career, you know what I mean? He wasn't training in an amateur gym, but he was training in a professional gym, yeah, and a professional setup like Klitschko. He has the money for it. I think AJ could have been a dominant force in heavyweight division. I think.
Okay.
I really
Yeah.
do.
One thing, AJ might become a British boxing gate, but he will never be an Alex Lewis. Never be on that level. What?
Now, could you imagine him fighting Lennox Lewis? Prime Lennox versus Prime Joshua.
No competition.
It's a shame, really, isn't it? I think. Imagine if Emmanuel Stewart were alive and he trained Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, the things he could achieve. Yeah.
Uh-huh. There are things that I think about. I think Wilder and Joshua are two heavyweights that have wasted their talent, or their talent has been suppressed or not realised because of poor choices in trainers. Not saying they're not good trainers, but I'm not saying they're the best trainers.
Unfortunately, just having the wrong team of people around him, a lot of arse lickers,
Yep, yep.
Yes,
And
man.
any top trainer will not accept it.
Yeah, never surround yourself, yes, man. Never, ever.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. No chance. Can't trust. You can't trust the yes man. Can't trust them.
Yeah. In terms of boxing now, what do you think of I always applaud people like Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya because they prove that you can be a self-promoter if you do it right. As a boxer, you can be your own boss. So what did you gain from Mayweather's and Oscar De La Hoya's and now Canelo's, following suit? The rise of self-promoter.
Before again, we talk about history. Before we talk about those guys, you have to open the door for Mr. Audley Harrison. Harrison was the guy that wanted to be self-promoted, and they did not like that in the UK. They didn't want that. The top
Yeah,
promoters
Foxman
wanted
got
to be
blacklisted.
managing. Yeah, they wanted the Olympic gold medalist, heavyweight champion, to be managed by a promoter, an established promoter. And he caught hell trying to be a promoter. He caught hell for it. But he paved the way for others to do what they did. Lennox Lewis, he paved the way for that to happen. So,
lesson learned. Lesson learned. What do you think of the YouTube social media thing, like the Logan Pauls and the Jake Pauls and the KSIs? Is that temporary?
You know what? I'll say this much. Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. That fight is happening because of a YouTuber. That's all I've got to say about that. One of the top promoters in the world couldn't get the job done by himself. A YouTuber had to come in and get that fight made.
Okay.
I think that when somebody does something well, others want to follow. And there either is somebody's going to come along and break what that person's achieved, and there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to be very good at it. Yeah? Jake Paul is the exception to the rule, I think. I think he's the exception to the rule. I think everyone can do what he's done, or what he's doing. So he's an exception to the rule. I know people are hating on him and stuff, but he's doing what boxing has allowed him to be able to do. Yeah? Just like boxing's got a lot of people who do a lot of complaining, a lot of whining, but not a lot being done about it. Yeah? We whine about the judges, the referee, nothing's done about it. Nothing's done about it. We whine and complain about how these YouTubers come in and do what they're doing, because boxing allows that. Boxing's allowed it. Yeah? And because there's a lack of personalities within the boxing world today, a lack of personalities, Jake Paul's able to come in and do this. And this is of no surprise, because I mentioned this, I think I mentioned it about a year ago when I talked about a league of boxing for older, a Masters League of Boxing. Mike Tyson tried to do it, and he came back and he fought Roy Jones, and that made a lot. Yeah, I heard it made a lot of money. Mike hasn't seen that money yet, so I understand. But it tells you something. If Roy Jones and Mike Tyson are fighting, right, and Canelo had to step aside to make that fight happen, for that fight to happen, he literally was going to have a fight, I believe, on that day or around that time, and Tyson and Roy Jones took centre stage. Two men 50 plus and can still command an audience. If Mayweather came back tomorrow, he could still command an audience. That's what the state of boxing is today.
Yeah,
what it is.
Definitely.
That's it is. Yeah. I'm not sure if Tony Bellew came back, it would have the same appeal. I have to mention that because I think he's going to come back. Sneaking feeling he's going to come back.
I wonder against who though? David Hay, third time.
I think he's going to try and go for that Jake Paul fight. As stupid as it sounds, Jake Paul. I think he's going to go for that Jake Paul.
I heard Jake Paul might be fighting Conor McGregor. I heard Conor McGregor is trying to get negotiations going.
I heard he was going to fight Mike Tyson as well. So.
Oh, okay. That was meant to be Logan Paul, the bigger one. Logan Paul meant to fight Mike Tyson next. I guess.
I thought Jake Paul's going to fight. I don't know. One of the Pauls are going to fight Mike Tyson.
Yeah, speaking of, is this true? What's going on between Logan Paul and Mayweather? Apparently he hasn't been paid yet for the exhibition fight.
I heard that story. I heard he hasn't been paid, and I heard Mike Tyson hasn't been paid for the Roy Jones fight.
So where does money disappear? We're not paid upfront money, and plus pay-per-view shares.
We'll soon find out. We'll soon find out. This
is my next one in terms of boxing and their finances. As you know, boxing has a history. As many other sports, last week, do time broke. We've heard about Mike Tyson, Randy Holyfield, Bill Lewis, Ali, etc., etc. Why do you think? I've noticed as well. I did a video about this a while ago. Our fighters tend to retire. Even though they have less stellar career, they tend to try more financially savvy. Like George Kazagi is still well off. Nigel Benn still doing good. Nas, Hatton, Kawasaki, Fox all doing well financially. Whereas a lot of American fighters, United, Mike Tyson, had a Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, Tommy Hearns. The American fighters tend to retire. Even though they're making more money than our fighters, they tend to retire broke. Why do you think it is the difference between our fighters and American fighters in the finances and retirement? Is it because of the big the
Maybe,
American lifestyle? What you're
maybe the
thinking?
American lifestyle is bigger. They've got more. They can expand more than they can in the UK. I could be wrong now. I don't know. I can't speak on that, but I would suspect it's the American lifestyle,
Right,
the
those big
lavish American
entourages,
lifestyle.
those big
Yeah, yeah,
entourages.
yeah, 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 yeah. We're more conservative in the UK compared to the Americans.
We
You
count our
know?
pennies more, definitely.
Yeah, and Evander Holyfield, he was a Creflo Dollar was his pastor, and I believe he was investing a lot in the church.
Yeah, Paggy,
And I don't
40
understand.
million.
Yeah, and I can't understand how the church wasn't advising him to make better investments with his money. But listen, a lot of these fighters, you have to also understand that they have egos. It's egos that allow them to get in the ring and fight. And sometimes they feel that they're champions outside the ring as well, and nobody can tell them what to do. So even if they're being given a good advice, they're not listening until it's too late.
Do you think
Ricky
Mayweather's
Bo lacked discipline. Bo lacked discipline, and that was he ate too damn much. He had no discipline. He blew too much in between fights. See, if that's the indiscipline he had just with his boxing career, imagine the kind of indiscipline he had with his money as well.
yeah? Because I felt for me, I almost cried when Ryan Holyfield felt that MMA gave it to Belfort
Oh
and knocked
boy,
out.
oh
I,
boy.
I almost went to tears because a guy, Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it,
Yeah,
undisputed heavyweight champion, now has
yeah.
to fight 60 years old because he can't afford to pay the bills. He can't afford to retire. Nearly 60 years old.
Ah, it's sad, isn't it? But Danny Williams is still fighting.
No, no, he's not. He's not retired. About a year
No,
ago.
he fought last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, he's still
Oh,
fighting.
oh,
That's one for you. There you go.
he's gonna end up paralyzed. Honestly, he's not. I don't know. I pay
It's
for
not.
that.
It's not good, is it? It's not good, is it? It's not good.
Still fighting. I thought he retired about a year ago. I thought
No,
the
I
league
thought so too. And that,
manager, the
yeah,
friend,
no,
did like a GoFundMe campaign for him.
I know, and I did a whole thing on it on YouTube, but no, he's still fighting. I was shocked. I read it in the article. I went, oh no, and I didn't want to read no more. He's still boxing.
Yeah, I don't know. Boxing's so cool. These box licenses need to be taken off. These boxers.
But he said that he's providing for his family, his kids. They're going to private school, and it costs a lot of money. So I guess he's sacrificing his life for his kids to have a better education. I guess.
Out of the boxers who never reached their potentials, who would you say a boxer that had it all but never quite reached it? From your Would you say Adrian Broner? Would you say Nas even? Would you say Mitchell
Um,
Smith?
oh, Mitchell Smith. My gosh, that's a name. A blast from the past. What happened
Yeah,
to Mitchell Smith?
he kind of I don't know. I think he took I think he lost a fight, then had some issues with the law, some legal issues. Then he tried to do like a come up journey, try to lose some weight, but I guess he kept quiet now. I don't think he's done anything since.
Yeah, Mitchell Smith. Wow, wow. Harold Graham had all the talent in the world and then became world champion. That's one big one. Um, Michael Watson, all the talent in the world and then became world champion. Michael Brody, all the talent in the world, never became world champion. Um, Derek Chisora. Now there's one. I think if Chisora was managed the right way, he could have got a world title shot and maybe, even possibly, with the right fight, being a world champion. I'd like to see Derek Chisora fight or fought Trevor Bryan rather than fighting Joseph Parker. But bear in mind, Joseph Parker was WBO champion, and Derek Chisora arguably beat him in that fight, and that was an older version of Derek Chisora. So Chisora's another one of those guys I think could have done better with his career, been managed better.
Do you worry for Chozor? If Chozor is not past it, should we call it a day? There's another one
Yeah,
for you.
I think he should. After that fight against Joseph Parker, I mean, he's talking about him fighting Deontay Wilder. He doesn't want that. He really doesn't want that. Speaking of comebacks, Amir Khan wants to fight Kell Brook again.
Yeah, I've heard the news. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm not. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was April Fool's joke. Honestly,
I can understand why Khan would want to fight him again.
is that pride? Pure pride.
No.
Why?
Business.
Why is it? Can't be. It can't be money. He's a rich man. He's a very rich man.
You think this out a second, yeah? You lose to Kell Brook, yeah? Now, here's the key thing. Is he going to go back to Crawford's trainer? One, because he said changes need to be made. Is he going to go back to Crawford's trainer? One. Two, is he doing this as his retirement fight? Like, one more big paycheck to fight again? I mean, he's saying he's got a lot of money, but what is a lot of money? It's like a lot of money for what? A lot of money for a few years? A lot of money for his children's children?
I'm guessing it's like 10, 20, 30 million in the bank, I'm guessing.
You'd think Mike Tyson, if Anna Holyfield had 100 million or 200 million in the bank, Mike Tyson had over 300 million.
Maybe his wife has got expensive taste. I definitely
the wife, the kids, the family, all those different charities he's setting up and doing. Yeah, somebody talk about he wanted to buy a new home, and you just don't know, do you? You don't know.
Yeah, I can admit it. America definitely not a frugal man. He's got expensive taste in his family.
Yeah, so you just don't know. He's got money. He said he's sorted. He also told us that he sparred Kell Brook and he schooled him. Yet now it comes out he said that he don't remember no sparring session with Kell Brook, and he never schooled Kell Brook because he can't remember the sparring session. But he said it sounded good anyway.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, most people are not which you think they are.
Most people exactly. And it's not like he does live the life, doesn't he, Carl? So
you're probably right. Probably is the payday. Probably more the payday.
Payday.
Gotta get that payday. But I just want to see. America does so much for a British box. I don't want to see him like a Tommy Hearn, old man. He can't spin a sense together.
You ask yourself, why would you want to put yourself through that pain again against Kell Brook? How does he think he beats Kell Brook? That's what I want to know.
He lost all his reflexes. He's not fast.
I'm fascinated how he's going to go about it. Absolutely fascinated.
Because that fighting style is a young man. Khan is a young man's fighter. He relies on athleticism.
Speed.
So that style doesn't go well if you get old.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. If you don't, those guys are speedy guys with reflexes. That's why a guy like Hopkins can last for a long time, because he didn't rely on speed and reflexes.
Yeah.
Roy Jones relied on speed and reflexes. As soon as the speed and reflexes are gone, Roy was in trouble. Roy was in big trouble.
I guess his point. He has to be the money. His money, the pride, has to be a bit of both.
His pride as well. But I don't know. Well, he's been beaten once already, and I guess he's dealt with it now. So they go and fight the guy again.
Yeah, I just hope Khan doesn't knock him out spark cold this time. I hope it's a stoppage at best. I hope it's not a brutal like a Kell knockout. He does not get.
Maybe you're a type. No, maybe the plan might see. You know what? We'll take the rematch. We'll get the money, and if you're getting badly hurt, people will understand. I'll retire you in the corner.
How do you reckon the rematch would do well on Sky pay-per-view? Because that fight was one-sided. If the first fight was close and competitive, then I could see the rematch being sold. Because the fight was so one-sided to the Brook's favour, how would they sell the rematch?
Let me ask you a question. Yeah, there's been a lot of garbage on TV, and we still sit down and watch it on a Saturday night. And this fight will sell again, for sure. For sure it'll sell again. It'll sell again. It'll sell again because because it will sell again because Khan will say, well, you know, I wasn't in the best shape or blah 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 blah
I was
blah.
injured. Yeah, I was
And I
injured.
was injured, all that, and then Kell Brook won't be happy about it because he's trying to get shine off of me. This time I'm gonna, and then Kell will say, this time I'm gonna flatten you, and Khan will wrap his gums again, and then you got the second fight.
Yeah, you're probably
So,
right. Probably right. Unfortunately, probably.
I mean, come on, what? It's the same old with boxing. Nothing should surprise you now, you know. It's the same old. It's the same old selling method every time.
Yeah,
They'll
definitely.
be sitting down
I
between.
still can't believe Mayweather fought Logan Paul last summer, but it happened.
You see, the thing is, they just got to find a hook. What is the hook for this fight? Is it going to be Khan's injury? Is it because Kell wants to flatten him this time? What is it? What's the hook now?
Yeah, something like that. There's
There'll
always
have to
a
be some
story
sort of
to
hook.
tell.
I don't know what the hook will be, but they'll find some hook. It's Sky. It's Adam Smith. There's always a hook.
Yeah, terms. Oh, anyways, it's been a pleasure speaking to you, England. Obviously, it's honor. You've definitely been one of my idols, and probably you and Ade from Boxing of Ade is one of the probably the reason why I
Yeah,
started
yeah,
the
yeah.
channel. Because I'm so happy the way he came from the bottom and he's worked his way up, and now he's
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and
I'm
flying
really,
everywhere.
really, really. I mean, I'm really proud of Ade and what he's achieved and what he's gone on and done. You know, I'm one of these guys that when a person's gone and do well, I'm always
Yeah, definitely.
supporting and clapping, even if it's from a distance. I'm clapping and supporting. You understand? Because I like to see winners.
Yeah,
I associate myself with
hard workers
winners, and I
will get
love
what they
winners.
want.
Yeah, yeah, I like to see. I like to see. I like to see. And it always bodes well when you've been around a group of people who are successful. You see them go and do success. You're part of that success as well. So yeah, I'm always grateful for that, and I'm also grateful for the people that have come through BWTM, whether it be uh, whoever it may be who's gone on and been successful, not just in boxing, who've gone on and been successful. I'm just grateful that I've had the opportunity to talk to these people and continue to talk to them and continue to support where I can.
Where do you see the Fury White fight? What's your prediction? Fury by 8 rounds.
I think people better not sleep on Dillian White. That's what I'm saying to you. Do not sleep on
You can see an
Dillian
upset
White.
happening.
Do not sleep on Dillian White. People are getting super hyped on Tyson Fury by beating a guy who was a windmiller and a bum and a basketball player and only had a right hand, right? And against a guy who's better equipped than Deontay Wilder. Dillian White is a better equipped fighter. He's more streetwise
Yeah,
than
I
Deontay
definitely.
Wilder.
I 100% this would be a tougher fight, tougher than Wilder fight because Wilder definitely White is a more fundamental sandbox overall.
Not yeah, he does. And if White can fight on the inside, he's a body. He works well to the body. Yeah, he he doesn't just have to rely on just a left hook. Do you understand? He can work the body, he can work the head, and his corner is sound. He's got how the Shadow Knight in the corner. You understand? That's going to help. He how the Shadow Knight understands the Kronk way of fighting. Yeah, and if Tyson Fury doesn't go back to that herky jerky movie style and he holds his feet and wants to be a puncher and wants to have a shootout with Dillian White, the percentages of Dillian White winning that fight get more because Tyson's best attributes is when he's moving, using the jab, being herky jerky, hands, you know, all that sort of stuff. All that sort of stuff. That's what threw Klitschko off. Once he decides to stand up and try and be a wreckable machine and be a puncher against Dillian White, it's different because now leverage is different. When Dillian White fought Rivas and he fought Parker, those guys are much shorter than Tyson Fury. Fury's going to be punching down significantly. White's going to be punching up. So, you know, Fury's good. He's a very good fighter. But let's put things into perspective. And I have to put them into perspective by people who said, Wilder's not very good. He's a bum. He's a windmiller. He's only been knocking out bums. So now, when Tyson Fury knocks him out, now Tyson Fury is the greatest heavyweight of the modern era. But what is it? Is Deontay Wilder that good? or is Tyson Fury that hyped up? I'm not knocking Tyson Fury because I would never said that Wilder was a bum. But this is something that a lot of boxing YouTubers have said and gone with that narrative. So if you go with that narrative, you're on that slippery slope. So, okay, so then Tyson Fury just knocked out a bum. He's beaten a bum twice, 3 times. He drew the bum the first fight and he knocked out the bum in 2 other fights. I'm not saying this. I'm just saying how it's been put out there. And now he's going to fight another bum in Dillian White. But who isn't a bum in boxing? Like, Dillian White's a bum, Joshua's a bum. The only person who's not a bum now is Usyk. You understand?
If Tyson wins in style, do you think Tyson will actually retire directly? There's another BS.
Tyson's full of shit. He's full of shit.
What's the next thing? Will he fight AJ next?
He's full of shit because what he does, if he says he retires, yeah, that brings clamour for Tyson to come back, and it's even more money. When you say come back, when you say you're going to retire, that's not. When a guy starts talking about the R word and the retirement word in boxing, it's never a good sign. Well, Tyson Fury, it's not the first time he said the word retirement. And for me, when you use the R word in boxing and you were this superstar or this superstar, and you say retirement, then how much money more are you going to pay Tyson to come out of retirement to fight AJ or to fight Usyk for undisputed?
I can't see Fury retiring for good about fighting AJ. There's too much money in that fight. Can't see him.
Yeah, but even more money now if he retires and then comes back.
Yeah, sales pitch. That's his sales pitch.
It's sales pitch. Tyson's a smart guy. Sales pitch.
He might take a break. I heard to, but he won't retire for good.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Tyson will tell you today he's going to retire, and tomorrow tell you he's going to fight another 10 fights. So, don't listen to what Tyson says. I tell you that first hand. Don't listen to what Tyson says. Unless you see it in a contract written down there, don't listen to what Tyson says.
You got to take what he says in the picture, so absolutely.
Yeah, you have to, because if you don't, your head you'll be like this all the time, Tyson Fury. Well, he said that, now he's saying this. He said that, now he's saying this. Yeah. Just take it with tongue in cheek, smile and say, all right, mate. That's what him. All right, mate. That's what it is.
I'm thinking of going to the fight. I'm gonna wait maybe first, second week of April. I'm 50-50 I'm going to see that fight live. I'm probably 50-50. I'll probably wait till April.
Okay.
What about yourself? You thought about going to that fight?
Doubt it. I think I'm going to be pretty busy. I'll have to watch it live online.
Well, anyways, and you'd be proud to say, I told you so. White pulls upset and knocks him out with the left hook in the night.
Well, you know, if it happens, it wouldn't be an upset. If it happens, it wouldn't be an upset because it's boxing, it's heavyweight boxing, and Tyson's not invincible. This guy's been on the canvas. He's been visiting the canvas regularly. 2 knockdowns against Deontay Wilder in the second fight or the third fight, and 2 knockdowns in the first fight. This is a guy that's meant to be a bum, remember, a windmiller, no technique. So if a guy with no technique can knock him down, what about a guy with some technique and might knock him down? I don't know. Boxing's a weird one.
Anyway, what's your thing of upcoming fights? What do you think of the Josh Warrington Kiko Martinez fight? You reckon that's an easy fight for Warrington?
I don't know. I said that when Josh Warren went to Hearn would ruin Warrington, and well, what's he done with him?
Yeah, he got knocked out by that Mexican.
People laughed at me when I said it. But Frank was looking after Warrington, to build him up, and Warrington wasn't happy, so he went off. So Eddie put him on a fast track, and you saw what happened.
What's this weekend? Lee Wood and Mick Collin. That fight?
Good fight. Collin is the better skill fighter, and really, I think Lee Wood. I like Lee Wood though. I like his skills. I like his skill set. I do like Lee Wood. saw him fight for the world title. When he won the world title, I was very impressed with Lee Wood. Very impressed with him. Like to see how Conlan does against the supposedly big puncher in Lee Wood. Skill for skill, probably say Conlan's a more skillful fighter. He's got the name behind him, the achievements, but we'll see. I think it's a good fight, very good fight.
Okay. And Katie Taylor and Serrano. I think Serrano will make me stop Katie Taylor. I think Taylor maybe past it.
I'm going with Serrano stoppage. The Taylor fights too damn reg, fights too much, fights too regular, and she fights with her face. She worries me, Katie Taylor. She fights back to back to back fights, and it's not like she makes fights easy for herself. I've never been a fan of her style, to be honest. Fights too much with her face, and if she lets Serrano hit her in the face, she'll get stopped.
Okay. And what's your opinion about women's boxing? Is it do you think would it ever become mainstream like women's MMA, or does it need like a superstar? I would say it needs somebody like Emily Bridges who can fight to become like a big star.
Well, you got Jessica McCaskill.
Yeah.
It's on BWTN Sports. I said after she got beat by Katie Taylor, I thought that she won against Taylor. I said she'd go on to be a very good champion. Well, she went on and became champion and became undisputed champion. But Jessica McCaskill. There's a lot more females in boxing making a name for themselves. And
there's Australian. Is it Sky Nicholson, that Australian one?
Yeah, we've got to give Eddie credit where it's due, and he's done a good job with female boxing. I'm so glad that Natasha Jonas became world champion.
Yeah, me too. I was there live. I was there.
Do you? Shout out to Natasha Jonas. I'm so happy for her, and I'm glad she did it the way she did it and when she did it. So glad she went on Boxer. So glad. Cheeky one is
because unfortunately her didn't treat her well.
Well, look at Kell Brook. Remember, Eddie said that Kell Brook's finished and this, that, the other. Now he's asking for Kell Brook to fight Conor Benn and ignore Kushubak.
Now he's saying he wants 10 million to fight Conor Benn, so you can let him fight Brook.
Who wins that fight, Benn or Brook?
If Brook can handle Benn's power, then Brook. If Brook, it all depends how washed up Brook is.
What about Brook's power? Can Ben take Brook's power? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's been dropped by a guy. He's been dropped. He was dropped before, and he hasn't fought any punches. If you notice, what they do with Ben is they keep him away from punches. So now they get him against Van Heerderen. So last time you saw Chris Van Heerderen. He's pulling another guy up that we haven't seen for years. Van Heerderen, flipping. What's the other guy before that? Was what's the guy's name? Let him out the cage. What's his name? Chris Algieri.
Is he not fighting? What's his name again? Maurice Hooker. I thought that's another option. Is that not going through then? Ben, is it Maurice Hooker?
Who's that? Ben fighting Maurice Hooker. Ben.
Oh, was that a rumor? I thought that's meant to be. Borneo's too expensive. But then
Ben versus Maurice Hooker. Are you sure?
I think that's a rumor. I know it's a rumor. I thought that's one of the options.
Yeah, I can't see that fight happening. No way. Maurice Hooker can punch. He can box. Nah, I wouldn't take that fight for Ben. But, hey, who knows? They might say Hooker might be a bit chinny.
But I don't think Eddie would take his time with Ben, just in case Joshua loses, gets used sick, or loses again.
There you go. Why is he taking it easy? Why is he taking it easy with
He needs a plan B, in case AJ loses again.
Okay.
And also Canel's is a freelance agent. Canel's not 100% match for him. He's like on and off.
Exactly. So how many top fighters have they got on DAZN? Tell me.
As in pay-per-view, as in stars or just good fighters?
Stars.
AJ, White, Chisora. Those three. Warrington.
Wait. What makes AJ a star?
He's a big star in boxing, British boxing at the moment. He stars at weight stadiums.
In British boxing. You're talking British boxing, not world boxing. Who else? White. British boxing. Chisora. British boxing. This is the zone. It's going to be global the zone, right? So Canelo is who they have, and if Canelo's a free agent, so who else has the zone got?
In terms of world stars, no one really.
Because AJ missed the opportunity to be a world star when he went to America. When he went to America, had he beaten Andrews, that would have been his ticket to being a world star. Look at Daniel Dubois. He went from England, came to America, and he put on a show in America.
Yeah.
Put on a show. Americans remember him for that.
Yeah, no, hopefully we'll catch O'Brien soon. No,
Trevor Bright. That is confirmed. It's happening. State of McKinley confirmed it on Facebook.
Is it happening in America? Or is it happening in Britain? Did you say?
London.
Oh, okay.
London. I think somewhere in May or June. I think the fight's going to happen.
I give it to Frank. Frank is a survivor. He's been shot. He's been bankrupt. He's still
Shout
surviving.
out, Frank. Now you see, I love Frank. Frank's my kind of guy. Frank's got a good chin. He's got a good heart. Frank's not going to fall apart when things ain't going his way. Frank will fight. Frank's my kind of guy. Substance.
And Eddie said it many times, like, Queensbury's gone bust, but still around.
Yeah. They say the same thing about Al Haymon as well. Sure. I think Eddie needs to mind his own business. He knows about everyone else. I think he needs to worry about his own business. That's what I think.
Anyway, Ingram, again, pleasure speaking to you. Thanks for the opportunity.
You too.
Lovely chat.
Thank you so
I'd definitely
much.
love to talk to you again, or maybe another time on another channel sometime.
Absolutely. You should come on our channel sometime. It'd be great.
Absolutely. Anyway, thanks for watching that interview, guys, with the amazing Ingram Jones. You take care, everybody. Have a good day. Good night, everybody.
Thank you so much. Take care.